Yes, good morning, students. As yesterday we have discussed about the soil, we have discussed everything about the soil in the introduction class. As we know, soil is most important natural resource. There are lots of natural resources we are using, natural resources we are using, I can say. But soil is the most important natural resource which we need in our day-to-day life. It supplies the water, it supplies the nutrients, and it is also used. It's also home for the many organisms. It is also useful for the agriculture, and agriculture help us. They provide food, clothing, shelter. So soil is very important part or inseparable part of our life. Inseparable means that the part which you cannot separate. You cannot say that I don't require soil in my life. You need soil. That is why it is said inseparable part of your life. I said. Now, this all things we get from the soil. So, when you are kid, when you are playing with the clay, you are making toys, different small toys you are making, or you like to play kabaddi in the soil. So, lots of games also you can play. Yes, you can see in the activity table 9.1. Collect some soil samples and observe them carefully. You can use lens also, examine each carefully, discuss your observation. Now here the table 9.1 is given. The sources from where the soil we have collected. Yesterday just I talked about the soil we can collect from different places. See, here it is given that soil is collected from the garden, from the roadside, or the area where construction is going. You can also collect the soil nearby the river bank, nearby the coastal area. If you are going in the vacation, you can collect some part of the soil from the coastal area. You can collect some part of the river bank, the soil you collect. You can collect the soil from your nearby construction area which is running nearby your house, or you can collect the soil when you are going outside from your house. You can collect. Once you collect the soil, what you have to observe. Now, when you check the garden soil, you will find that the plants are growing, and you can also see animals, that's ant. You can also see there are other plants, not only grass, there are some other plants or herbs or shrubs are there, small in the garden. When you take the soil from the roadside, when you are taking the soil from the roadside, what you will observe? You will have humus and some part of the stone. You don't have pebbles. Generally, pebbles are not available nearby the house or roadside sand. Pebbles generally you get from the river bank, but some parts of the stones, humus. As I said yesterday, humus is made in rotated animal and plants which are mixed in the humus. Humus is very important. Let me discuss how. After that, if you collect the soil from the construction area, see the soil which is collected from different parts. You can see in the garden soil, it is a sticky soil. It will have a more amount of the moisture, isn't it? And the collection of the lumps which by hand, similarly if you collect some lumps from the other part like the roadside, if you collect the lumps from the construction area, and if you measure the weight of these three parts of the soil, you will have a different type of the weight of the whole soil. Let me discuss in the standard where we can discuss in the next chapters. We'll discuss about how much this water observing capacity the soil have, or different soil have the water observing capacity. Now come to the soil profile. Soil is composed of a distinct layer it provides the shelter, it provides the crops, and it have lots of natural resources also inside. As you can see in the activity 9.2, here you can see the glass full of water. When you add soil collected, when you add, you will see upper part. You can see on the okay. See, here you can see different layers. So very first, what you are going to get from the soil which you have collected, you get the humus. The rotating dead matter in the soil is called the humus. Now, rotating dead matter means the whatever the animal sometimes, or sometimes the plants or leaves or food also, it is present in the humus. Yes, you will have water in between because there is a reason that some part of these are the very lighter in water, lighter in weight, so it goes in the upward direction. Some are heavier, like a clay. Some part of the clay is heavier, so it remains between because it is in a smaller amount. Above that, there is sand, which is more heavier, which is taking a more amount of form, and it goes in downside. Then you have gravels. Gravels are more heavier than the sand and the clay, so it remains in the below the glass. So, as we discussed yesterday about the humus, and now we also discussed about the weathering. So what is the weathering? The breaking down of the rocks by the action of wind, water, and climate. This process is called the weathering. As I said yesterday, that any rock is naturally getting heat, water, rainfall, that is water, and the change of the climate. Every time climate changes, yes or no? Climate always changes. So when climate is changing continuously, when heat is getting by the sun and the water, so these three things will always responsible to destroy or make a new substance. So When these three substances are changing, are in action, then that action is known as weathering. Okay, hope you understand the weathering. When you discuss about all this process, what soil contain, then we have this kind of layers. But when you want to know what exactly the soil profile, when you dig the well and you get different kind of the layers of the soil profile, that is called the horizons. Okay. And these each origins have different texture, depth, and chemical composition. Each layer have different texture, color, depth, chemical composition. These layers are, that is why known as the origins. Now you can see that in the 9.3 we have A horizon, B horizon, C horizon, and it is a bedrock. We usually see the top surface of the soil on the layer below it. If we look at the sides of the that is side of the recessive dig, you can see the well which is, or there are any kind of construction area where they are making the construction. Before that they dig the soil, that part that is called floating. When they are doing the floating, you check it, you will have a different colors. We can see the inner layer of the soil. Okay, so when you want to observe the exact layers, you have to check or you have to dig, or where it is digged by the other construction building or sites. So the uppermost horizon is generally dark in color as it is rich in humus and minerals. The humus makes the soil fertile and provide nutrients to grow plant. This layer is generally soft, porous, and can retain more water. So it is called the top soil. The upper layer, where plants also grow. Okay. Plants also grow. This layer contains more nutrients, more amount of nutrients. This layer is fertile and provides growth to the plants. Generally, it is soft, porous, and can retain more water. It is called the top soil or A horizon. Got it? And this A horizon also provides, see here, so many animals or insects are getting the shelter, which is worms, rodents, moths, beetles, even ants also, and the small plants are also connected with the top soil or A horizon. Okay. After that, the next layer of the soil. This is the next layer of the soil, which contains small amount of humus. See, This is connected, so some amount of humus also go the inside of the soil. So small amount of humus and more amount of minerals. This layer is soft. A horizon is soft, but the B horizon is harder. Is harder, and this layer is known as the middle layer or B horizon. Topsoil. Now that middle layer, B horizon. And apart from that, we have C horizon. Third layer, which is called as C horizon, and this C horizon is made of the lumps of the rocks, which are like this. Suppose this is the rock, you will find some cracks on that. So there are cracks which are present in the C horizon layer, and after that we will have bedrock, which is hard and difficult to dig with a spade. This is the bedrock, and which is hard, and this is the, you can see here, bedrock, because this contains lots of rocks and stones. This is difficult to dig, and this layer also sometimes contains the storage of water. This is for the groundwater also. Okay. So this is the layers which are responsible. This all layers have their own duty, you can say. They are helpful for different things. One soil have different types of duties, which will provide you the comfortable life. Like it provides crops, it provides clothes, it provides shelters, it helps in the growing of the plants, constructions, all this. After this, we understood all the types of the or the parts of the soil or the profile of the soil. Now we will have to understand what type of the soils are available. Say in India, there are different types of mountain soil, desert soil. Okay, so this mountain soil, desert soil, why it calls the mountain soil? Why it calls the desert soil? At the very first point, as I discussed with you, that the soil type is depend only the soil is prepared or the made by nature from the rock. What type of rock is responsible, or what type of rock has the weathering to prepare the soil, and that is depend on that what type of soil you will have in your hand after the weathering of the rock. So when we have a mixture of rock particles and humus, is called the soil. So we come to the conclusion of definition of soil. What exactly soil is? Simple definition, that the mixture of a rock particle and humus is called soil. Whenever you will have the mixtures, you will have a soil, you will have a mixture of the rock particles or humus. You will definitely have whenever you collect the soil from any area. And it will also contain some bacteria, some plants, or sometimes if you collect the soil from the farm, you will have earthworm in your hand. Now, we will get the soil from all different parts, but how will classify them? How will come to conclusion that this soil is known as this type because of these things are present in it. We have to classify. So the soil is classified on the basis of the proportion of particles of various size. When you have a soil in your hand, there are some particles are present in that type of soil. When you take that type of soil in your hand, you will have make yourself conclude that the soil which I have in my hand, that this type of soil. So very first type, that is sandy soil, if you have. A sandy soil you will get from outside your house also. The greater proportion of big particles or larger amount of particles are big, this soil is known as sandy soil. Understand? If soil contains greater proportion of big particles, that soil is known as sandy soil. If soil contains fine particles higher compared to the sandy soil, which have see, every soil have some particles mixed. Definitely. If you contain in the sandy soil, it will have some part of the smaller part amount of the clay soil. If you have a clay soil in your hand, you will have some amount of the loamy soil. But what exactly the classification? Once you are having that soil in your hand, what are the higher amount of proportions as per the definition which soil we have? What are the higher amounts of proportion in your hand? Then you have to decide that this is this soil. Whether it contains some amount of this soil or some amount of that soil. But if the soil have fine particles relatively higher compared to the other, compared to the other soil, the fine particles are more in the soil, then that soil is known as clay soil. Soil is known as the clay soil. So, whenever you go in the farm, you will find that the clay soil, which have very fine particles, and it contains larger amount of moisture also. So, see, today only sandy soil and clay soil only we will have. Tomorrow or next topic we will understand in next class. If you don't understand any topic, you can ask